Ladies and gentlemen, here it has come, the end of season 1.
I really thought that we did a great job of the guests. I think our guests brought incredible conversational pieces, education, thought leadership.
And just to see where people got their inspiration from and how they've turned that into success, that's a great thing. And I hope all the listeners enjoy learning as we did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's been really fun for me to do this next to you and see you as a host, man.
Yeah.
You're really great. And
I appreciate it, bro. Where do we pivot to next?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here it has come, the end of season 1 of Gridiron and Growth, the podcast. We're going to take a couple weeks and then get back on the train. But Bennie Fowler, man, when you think about season 1 of Gridiron and Growth, what comes to mind?
Hustle, the grind. I think it's awesome to, number one, do this podcast with you, somebody who I enjoy hanging out with, somebody I can talk with.
Yes.
I really enjoy that. I really thought that we did a great job of the guests. I think our guests brought incredible conversational pieces, education, thought leadership, and I think really challenged us to open up our minds. I think, we're doing these interviews and we're doing them for the people who are watching, but also for ourselves. So
100%.
I thought season 1 was great. I'm really looking forward to relaxing a little bit and then reflecting on the types of conversations we had and then thinking about season 2 and what that's going to look like. I would love to know just how you thought it went, the guests, the content.
What I want to start with, though, is it's been really fun for me to see you flourish as a host. We've played football together. I'd never seen you as a host, in a setting like that. And for me to it's like the first or second episode, I'm sitting there like, oh man, Benny's like, we're weaving in and out. There's a couple episodes where I told you after, I was going to ask that question, but I said, no, I think Benny's going to hit it, and you would. And it was kind of like blitz pickup, right? You have to depend on other people for blitz pickup to get it right. And it's been really fun for me to do this next to you and see you as a host, man.
Yeah.
And you're really great. And
I
think
appreciate it, bro.
The best thing we did that I loved, and I knew it wouldn't be an issue with you, we made space for our guests, to the point where we've had friends tell us like, hey, we want you guys to talk more. It's like, well, hey, we want the stories, because you and I have talked, this is why we started this. We know so many stories of perseverance, of shocking change or pivots, or people who were told they couldn't do anything, but we wanted them to tell that. And I think we did an effective job the whole season of just giving our guests that space.
I'm really surprised at the openness that we got from our guests. I mean, we got some super personal stories, which I thought was awesome, and I'm super happy that our guests were able to share those moments. I think in season 2 we will share a little bit more about our personal journey and a little bit about our opinions and perspectives, but I think we did it right by holding space. And I think these people, and I think people in general, have so much to share, so I think people will get to learn from us over time. But
I think about some of the episodes where people talked about how broken they were at a point. I remember one of our guests talking about they had just sold their company and they were, everybody was so happy for them, but they were at the worst part of their life. Yeah. Especially as NFL athletes, we can understand that. And people be like, great game, you guys won. And you might be thinking, man, I really, I got some work to do.
Right.
100%. I got to improve. One of my trainers once asked me, he said, that was a great touchdown. I said, well, hey, that's the thing about the NFL. Sometimes I can get rolled over when we throw a touchdown. I can make a great block and we throw an interception. Like, it's just out of your hands. But for me to hear how many people had what I would call like a sports-like experience of, I'm facing this challenge. I have to improve, or I have to listen to what my passion is internally, and they did that. And what I love is that they showed how they did that. Yeah, you have to fly in there. What I love is that they showed how they did that. They talked about the books they read, the mentors. I mean, I think some of the constant themes I heard, get a mentor, is something you and I believe in firmly. I mean, mentors cut time, create efficiency, all those things. Meditation came up big. Taking care of yourself came up big. I think about, we had one of our guests who'd started her own company, and people told her she couldn't do it, and she did it anyway. She said, well, I read, I learned, I researched. And I think that's the biggest thing that keeps people from achieving their dreams is they don't know where to go to find the information. And you can find information, you can find mentors, and these are things that have made people successful across all sectors.
Yep. You know, it's funny that you just brought up is that being an athlete is no different than being an entrepreneur or a parent. I think we all have these seasons. We all have these ups and downs. I think Matt McCall might have been one of our guests that talked a little bit about, you know, these S curves. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you're at the top and then you're going to go back down and then you're going to go back to the top again. And life is just like that. And I think really understand that. JP Flom was another guest that I think, you know, really stood out in terms of just helping understand that life dichotomy. But, man, we had some incredible people. Carl Sona. I mean, just incredible people share incredible stories. Jeff from ESPN.
Yeah.
You know, you just would never think about all the things that he has to go through as a reporter.
Well, I think it's been fun for me, too. We've brought friends of ours on, and we've learned something. You know, I think about the Romy Bean episode. I had no idea she went through a time where she was not a cheerleader and then came back and did it. You know, to hear, you know, Tiffany talk about building an entire company around helping others serve grief. And I'll always take with her, you know, when somebody tells you of somebody passing, say their name, keep it present, keep it alive. And just to see where people got their inspiration from and how they've turned that into success, that's a great thing. And I hope all the listeners enjoy learning as we did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where do we pivot to next?
Well, let's just say thank you to all of our viewers, our listeners. We appreciate your continued support. Make sure to share and subscribe and to rate the podcast. We can only do this with your support, so look for us in season 2 to come back bigger and stronger with more of a variety of guests. And I'm so honored and proud of the guests that we did put on this first season.
Yeah, definitely a thank you to the supporters. I think I get texts about it, and it's just like, man, thank you for whether it's he or she listening to the pod and, you know, giving feedback or wanting to help. I think it's been incredible. I'm really excited for a little bit of a break for us to think about even the vision and us, you know, putting together and thoughtfully thinking through the advice that we're actually giving and following it.
Yeah.
And then putting together a very solid plan of how we will do this going forward and things that we're looking forward to. And I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm excited to talk more leadership, more entrepreneurship, law school.
Yeah.
Shout out to you going to law school, starting at CU Law School.
Come on
the 19th. So shout out to you for doing that. And even just another big step in your life and your journey. So I think it's going to be awesome.
Well, I can only do it because I've seen you take a step, you know, and continue to grow, and we have to.
Yeah.
And we have to. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you soon.
Thank you.